Welcome, Power fans. We are back to cover episode 4 of season 2 of Power Book 4 Force. I'm glad you guys have been tuning in this season. And of course, if you like the content, please like and subscribe. We're going into this fourth episode entitled The Devil in the Details. And the biggest occurrence that happened this episode, without a doubt, has to be Jenard and his continued spiral into addiction and his entire crew unraveling. We actually got some funny moments this time with him. He started off the episode coked out, seeing visions of Lil K, that unnecessary murder that happened last episode. He dumped the body, by pretty much by a dumpster, so very visible. It's found by the middle of this episode, and it leads to a fight with his own crew. Comical fight. I don't know what that guy's name is. I think it was Paco, my man with the Dade County dreads. He's basically going off. He's seeing Jenard sniffing coke, seemingly not caring about Lil K, and he's like, "Fam, one of our own is missing. You're the last person that talked to him. Where is he?" And Jenard is making excuses, trying to laugh it off and everything, but he does eventually come clean, and his justification is that Lil K was getting out of line, was getting insubordinate, and that leads to a big fist fight. It ends with pretty much that crew that was loyal to Little K splintering off. And if you notice, Jenard's own crew that decided to stay, they were looking at him pretty funny too. So he is almost, I think within an episode or two, he might get kicked out of his own crew, period. I mean, he doesn't have respect from anyone, and it's looking very, very bad. If this was real life, he would have already been killed by now, but this is Power. So I think he hasn't quite hit rock bottom yet. But the funniest thing, well, not the funniest thing, the most important thing with this whole descent, between the Serbs and the Mexican cartel pressing him, look at his relationship with Shanti. Shanti is the only one that's really been riding for him. And when he calls her, to to find out where she stands, he basically gives her an ultimatum like, either you're riding with me or you don't. I'm letting you have an out. Do you want to stick with me, or do you want to just go out on your own? And she says, you know what? Big risk takes big reward. I'm loyal to you. We're going to make this happen. That's what she says to his face. But if you look at her demeanor afterward, she's having her own doubts because she's a very savvy woman. She's been in the streets herself, runs her own boxing gym. She knows the importance of having respect out on the street if you're going to ask people under you to risk their freedom, standing out on the corners, getting in shootouts with rivals. If you don't have the respect, no one is going to be willing to do that for you. And she sees that he not only is he not getting that respect, he's making dumb moves. Killing Little K was stupid. And like she mentioned, this is your ego talking. And if you look at her face afterward, I think she's probably going to be going to Diamond asking either to get in with him or get out from under Jenard some type of way, because she sees where this is going. And if he falls, she knows that she's going to fall. So, and if he doesn't have Shanti anymore, he literally doesn't have anyone. So I think next episode, we're looking for predictions. I see Shanti pretty much breaking off things from Jenard. He's a loose cannon and he's a junkie. That's the last thing that she needs in her life. She wants a man that she knows that she can respect and rely on. And she was doing her part. I mean, she was really lifting him up, trying to support him and all that, and it's just not happening. So Jenard is basically in the dumpster at this point. He's going to lose his old crew, I think, by the time we get to mid-season, episode 5 and episode 6. Uh, Going to Tommy. Tommy had an interesting episode. Number one, he got his big achievement. He got Mireya, basically to come to his house, and she's now smitten with him at this point. Really the thing that tipped everything off was him giving her a driving lesson, teaching her how to work the stick shift. That sent her head over heels. About 10 minutes into the whole session, she's driving on her own now. She's feeling comfortable with him, goes to his house for dinner. They get a little intimate, but before he can seal the deal, he has to go meet Diamond to deal with this corrupt cop. So now that Mireya is in the fold, now we have to see where her loyalties are going to lie, because we know Tommy's main goal is he doesn't want to be under anyone. in the game. So I do think he has genuine feelings for Maria, but he doesn't love her more than he loves the game and being in power. So we know without a doubt that when push comes to shove, once he starts having any issues with Miguel, he's going to be using Maria to get information and to continue to manipulate them and the Sirs back and forth. So at that point, Maria is going to have to make a decision about who she's going to be loyal to, her brother or to Tommy. Obviously, it should be to her brother Miguel, being that she grew up with him. But we know how women in the Power universe are. She's probably going to pick Tommy, and it's going to lead to either Miguel getting killed or probably Maria. Maria is still, at her heart, seemingly a good person, even though she's making a dumb decision getting with Tommy. So I see her either getting killed in the crossfire of the war with the Mexican cartel, or possibly maybe even Claudia, because we know Claudia, she's trying to stay out of Tommy's crosshair. So I can see her after she gets done with her situation with Walter, going after Tommy herself. And just like Gloria was kind of caught in the crossfire with Vic, I could see that happening with Mireya and Tommy. The other thing was the Rojas issue. Rojas has people out on the street, which I didn't know. Tommy had to catch a body at the zoo. Uh, it's always funny when that happens. No one is around when you're supposed to. No one walks in the bathroom while all this is going on. So Tommy basically kills somebody. No cameras around, gets away with it. But I'm wondering if that situation and also what happened with the corrupt cop Seamus, is that going to be more fuel for the task force to potentially go after Tommy even further? We know cops getting killed in power does not mean the end of the world. There seemingly one or two gets killed in every season, no matter what book we're talking about. But I do think that's going to give the task force more ammo to really go after Tommy because this body just seems a little too random. So they're going to do a little bit of thinking on Seamus. And Seamus was really slimy, even for a police officer. So I'm glad we didn't have to deal with him for multiple episodes. But Seamus did actually serve a purpose in being the person that allowed D-Mac to catch his first body. So how is that going to change him? Is he going to turn into King Von immediately? I don't know. But, he had good aim with that shot. So I see him getting deeper and deeper in the game, especially with him trying to impress Genesis, and Genesis needs her money. Obviously, she's not going to date anybody broke. So we're going to see where that goes with him. But I can see him, as we know what power does, when you catch that first kill, descending into like a murder machine. He has a perfect model in Tommy anyway. So we'll see where that goes and how that gets him caught up with this cop and being in the game, and how his father is going to feel about that. Because his father doesn't want him anywhere near that. He was offering to teach him how to, play jazz and play instruments. And now his son is out here deep in the game now after getting shot at that. So that might cause some tension with Tommy. We'll have to see where that goes. As far as Diamond, Diamond is teaching that young kid about how to defend himself, but he has eyes on the mother, Gianna. Now, Gianna seems like she may be kind of street smart, so that can be the type of woman that Diamond needs going forward, because just the way that she pulled up in the shop and everything, I don't think this is just basically a regular woman that's out the game and all that. I think that she has some savvy to her that Diamond can use with his empire. It's kind of the one thing that he's missing. He has his women, has a few, but he doesn't have any that he can truly rely on, that he looks at the same level as him. So I'm gonna keep an eye on Gianna and see how that develops with her son, especially because her son, is an activist. So is that going to push Diamond into a little bit more activism in the community, even though he's a double agent, basically selling drugs, destroying the community at the same time? So we'll see where that goes with Diamond and Gianna. The other big thing and final big thing to kind of go over would be what's going to happen with the Flynn's. Walter is now a man alone. The only one that was really in his corner was who? Paulie. But now he looks at Paulie as a traitor because Paulie went to Doyle behind his back, and Doyle used that to basically humiliate Walter when they had that meeting. So now he's banished Paulie. So now he doesn't have Paulie, and both his children are plotting against him. So is Walter going to survive? I don't think it doesn't look good at this point. The only thing I can see is maybe he gets tipped off some type of way. maybe by Paulie. Paulie does some digging and uses that to try and get back in Walter's good graces. But things are going a little bit too smooth right now between Claudia and Vic. And I think Vic is making a big mistake by trusting Claudia like this. Because even if they get Walter out the way, out the way, what Claudia wants above anything is power to herself. She's not looking to share anything with her brother. So once Walter goes, the next target would be Vic. So I think everybody is expendable for Claudia, and I think her main thing is getting absolute power. So we're going to see where that goes. I think she's going to get Walter out of the paint within the next 2 or 3 episodes. Where that leads Vic, I'm not sure yet, but he's in the crosshairs too. I think, definitely by the end of this season, I'm seeing Claudia as the one in power with the Flynn family, basically because she's the one that's completely treacherous. She has that element that neither of them have. She can overstep her bounds a little bit, and that might be what might clip her wings is Tommy finding out some type of way that she was involved in was it Liliana's murder, and that might cut her kingdom short when she eventually gets in power. But out of the Flynns, I think she is the one that has the most cunning, at least to usurp the throne. I'm not sure if she'll be a good leader because she gets to be a little bit too emotional, and she kind of tries to get too ruthless to overcome the sexism that she faces to kind of show I'm not just a dainty woman. I can get my hands dirty too. She has to know when to show restraint. And I think that this whole situation will get her in power, but she might not be able to hold on to it. So that's where we're at with the Flynns. Let me know what you guys think. I think Jenard has another level to go of just the humiliation before he hits rock bottom. So I think we're going to get at least one other episode of everything falling apart for him. Probably the next episode is he really loses everything. He loses Shanti. Maybe gets beat up further for falling behind with the serves and everything. But I think he's going to get kicked out of his gang. That's going to be his rock bottom. And then at that point, he's going to have to figure out a way to get back in power. How he does that, I have no idea. But I don't think we've seen his humiliation end with just this episode. We have to pay attention to the fallout that's going to happen from the cop Seamus getting murdered. Is that going to get fueled to the task force to look into Diamond and Tommy a little bit more? And with that, with CBI, they're going to end up getting eyes on D-Mac some type of way. And with D-Mac, is he going to get more vicious? Now that he's caught a body, is he going to get deeper in the streets? We'll have to see where that goes. And then our final thing we need to pay attention to would be where Tommy goes with Mireya. They're going hot and heavy now. What's going to happen when Miguel finds out about that? And how is that going to affect their relationship with the cartel? So let me know what you guys think about this episode, The Devils in the Details, episode 4. I'll be back to cover episode 5 next week. We're already at the mid-season. How about that? So before we know it, this whole season will be over with by the end of October. So let me know what you guys think, if you're enjoying the season or not. And I'll see you next week to cover episode 5 and the rest of Power Book 4 season 2. Take care and enjoy your weekend.